Hiya Gav, good session yesterday. Hope you found it helpful. Just going to run through now what we discussed from the session. First thing first, if we look on the right hand side, you can see that the spine angle tilt that we talked about in the first session now has gone a little bit too far. So for me, with this sort of 6 or 7 iron, just a little bit too far behind the golf ball at address. The problem with that is now, as you swing the golf club back, you move even further off the golf ball. So at this stage now, you're so far behind the golf ball, your brain is telling you one thing and one thing only: you've got to get back to that left hand side as quick as you can. And the problem is the way you do that, because you've also got to try and get down to the ball at the same time, you do that with the right shoulder now, and you're moving across it now. So your right shoulder moving towards the golf ball, a lot of sway there with the top half, and that right hip and shoulder cut spinning around the corner. Right shoulder now getting very much sort of underneath here, trying to get out of the way, and then a lot of lateral movement kind of swaying. So you see how much your head movement from back here all the way through the shot to there, which for me is just a bit too much. And when you're timing it, it's going to be very, very tricky. Okay, so the better setup here on the left hand side, as we can see, club now much more sort of just underneath the head there. As we turn back now, a little bit of bump off the ball, but at least from here now we can move this head, so this hip should I say, keeping the head now just a bit behind the golf ball, and feel as though this right shoulder now is going under. It's not kind of sliding and moving towards the golf ball. So that left hip now can sort of move towards target a bit more like so, while the head now is saying a lot more stable, and that's going to help change that path of that golf ball, getting it a little bit more towards target rather than this big sway there where the ball was kind of been swung way to the left and low smother. And as you said, the very, very first lesson, you never really get those high hands on follow through. If we look here on this left hand side now, because your arms are swinging through as they come through now, we can see them starting to move a little more up above that head there as you go through, and keeping that width. The way the arms are going to swing higher on the follow through is if they swing more out this way. Think like a forehand shot in tennis, the racket would swing from sort of low to high. Your racket generally, when your hands finish low, it's because your hands are gone from high to low, only because of that sway off the ball in the first place, and then that big sudden sway back to the golf ball to try and get you back to kind of centre. So work on that setup. Use mirrors and sort of reflections there, and even cameras on your phone, to just make sure that we're not too extreme with the tilt. There's going to be a tilt, but it's only going to be a small amount. We don't really want to be presetting this far too much, as you can see on the right hand side. This now is really more sort of towards driver setup, with an iron just too far behind the ball, and added to the fact that you move this way in the backswing, it's just too far to get back to the ball, Gav. You'll do it on occasions, but take a lot of shots to kind of find that position. So a bit more neutral at setup. Then we can stay a bit more on top of the golf on the way back. And now from here, that skimming the pebble was the feeling that we discussed in the session that you really kind of found helpful. Hip's going to slide, shoulder goes down, and we skim that pebble into the golf. We don't want to be sliding over the top. The movement you make with your golf swing, if you were trying to skim a pebble, you just slam it into the sand right in front of you. So hope that makes sense. Any questions, obviously give me a shout, and we'll catch up again soon. Cheers, Gav.